So I know that there are some fans who take issue with a lot of the more urban and modern settings that take place for this game. You are running, jumping, shimmying through various streets, rooftops, and buildings. Much of the opening levels are full of all of this stuff. Personally, as the game is going for this mystery thriller type of feel and tone to it, we have a murder that happens at the start, and we don't really have many of those answers right there. We have a returning hero with Lara. We are rooting for her, but we honestly don't know if she really even did the crime. It's like taking elements from other really good Hollywood productions and then fusing them with the classic Tomb Raider action. I find that it fits really well, it's fresh, and also in line with what makes Tomb Raider great too, especially having a new kind of feel with Angel of Darkness. It manages to do all of this, but at the same time, I get it if you just want some tombs, to raid. Where I think I've finally gotten to that point, I really like the turn to the more classics here as well. There's a measure of patience that you need to have with Angel of Darkness, especially if you want to enjoy some of that classic tomb raiding action in a classic Tomb Raider setting. You do eventually get it, but it doesn't come till a bit later in the game, more around the mid-ish point. I think in this respect, it's an approach that does work, and I think it works pretty well. So like I said, the opening levels are a lot of new stuff, different settings, then you have the hub-like stuff. All really good as it still embodies those elements of exploration and player discovery too. Fun problem solving, more real environments that you need to navigate through. Then you hit the dig site, and the levels that follow this are very, very Tomb Raider-like. In this way, I would argue there is this build-up to actually getting to a tomb, having the more traditional treasure hunting setting. In this way, it feels very satisfying once you get there. The game has sort of built up to this. I would even argue that the museum is more of a taste of a classic Tomb Raider environment. This might be coming from my own bias, but I loved how in Tomb Raider Legend, there is a secret tomb hidden underneath a museum. A similar thing is found here with Angel of Darkness, and it all fits together very well. Because museums are showing us that history, and then having something hidden historical under it, it's just an enjoyable bit of irony. But then it's not like here's a tomb and it's a single level, but rather a hub tomb with distinct areas that make it all up. You wait for it, you need to journey to get there, and I think when you do, in some sense, you'll feel like you're at home. So the dig site is kind of like the introduction, and a bit of a tease to what is to come. You start by exploring and then finding two symbols but no clear way on how to use them. This later brings us to a puzzle door. You need to unlock it to get into the tomb. Something I really liked about this is much of the answers are just staring you right in the face. What I mean by this is that you need to use your notebook to figure out the puzzle. At first I'm like, I found the two symbols, where are the other two? The game never says, hey Lara, check your notebook. This is something you either need to try out or just stumble across through exhausting all of their options. But I like it because it felt like the first time where I actually truly used the notebook, like it was essential to then progress. It is here with the other two symbols that you can then unlock the door. Once inside, there is a series of calculated jumps as you need to make your way down. And let me tell you, landing each one of these feels like a mini victory all their own. Something else that is a nice touch is that this is where we encounter our first fantasy enemy, with the undead swordsman. Even better yet, you cannot kill them, but you can only stop them for a bit. The highlight here is with the jumps, and it's a challenging set of them. Once you reach the Hall of Seasons, it is here where you need to acquire these gemstones for the 4 different elements to then unlock another door. Many of the challenges involve, again, a calculated set of jumps. In one, you have a set of platforms and the ground is just falling in as you try to then make your way around to acquire the gemstone. This is right out of Indiana Jones. I do like the twist in how you need to get up there, and then have the correct path and jumps that you need to do, while also facing against fire-wielding foes. And then to top it all off, you need to pull 2 levers to then get out of this place. I always like when an old area is then flipped on its head like this. It allows a previous space to have a bit more life in it. First you go in, you find the correct path, Then you need to find your way out, while also contending with new enemies, and maybe a way to not get hurt. You can try to dodge these enemies or dispatch them by getting them to fall into the pit, but if the fire hits you, you need to find some water or you're eventually going to die. Another mini tomb has you jumping on these very small platforms. There's wind to dodge too, and after getting to the gem, you then need to jump your way back. The fire one keeps things interesting with the floor being lava, making those jumps and even need to dodge a fire wall too. The trick on the pass back is that you need to wait for platforms to come back, so that you can then jump to them. The final one I did was a water-based one. Some longer stretches of no air and even deadly traps to watch out for underwater. When you get all the gems and then return, something I found funny was that it was clear that I unlocked something, but it wasn't really clear where the door was. If you choose the correct levers to open up each of the challenge doors, then you would never really know there's a downstairs area below this room. That is actually where the door is. Again, a bit of experimentation and exploration. The game isn't handing stuff to you, you are earning it. Through this, then we have a puzzle room, which then leads us back to the main area, through a careful bit of platforming, and then climbing to get to the boss. The boss is kind of funny, since you can cheese it. You need to grab the book, but the ghost needs to be stunned. There's also a lot of really useful items on the floor. One thing I noticed is that whenever he attacks you, it's only waist high, left to right. So I crouched and grabbed everything I could, and then it was hilarious because he honestly could not hit me at all. It was kind of cool to be able to work this out. Shotgun him a bit, grab the book, and then escape. It's an enjoyable set of tomb raiding. Following the boss fight then begins Lara trying to escape the tomb, but this whole thing was really memorable and enjoyable. Something that I am saying with pretty much most of the levels that I come across is I really loved the build up to the tomb, along with the tomb itself, how it had many different layers to it. You are in that area for a while. The way in which it is broken up allows for the experience to feel really intricate, along with a sort of dynamic feeling to the entire thing. Sure, the areas, whether you do the fire room or say the earth space, these challenges will always be the same. Something I like is how it comes to the player, down to their choice, in the order in which you complete them, providing that little bit of the player guiding the experience rather than the game being the one guiding the player. You choose the order, you decide what to tackle first, and then second, and so on. It would be like Lara in the same situation too. The choice, while simple, allows for more immersion in this part. I'm also thankful for those quick saves and being able to save anywhere. That astronomically cuts down on retrying parts because a lot of the jumps in this area are pretty tough. The further I go with Angel of Darkness, the more I'm appreciating those calculated jumps. It's very satisfying, and even seeing how it works differently compared to say the Legend titles. And I love those, that's where I came from. I'm understanding where original fans are loving this style of platforming. I get it. I haven't really hit a wall with this title either. Again, roughness is found in many spots, but with me being a fan of this game, there's a wealth to appreciate too. And I have no idea if there's another tomb, maybe coming in later in the game. What do you think of the actual tomb in Angel of Darkness? Do you think it was well done and properly built up too? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.